What if one movie could teach you both how to live in the present and how to speak English more naturally? It's a very powerful and inspiring moral story told through scenes from an unforgettable film. You will learn how to speak English fluently, while also discovering a life-changing lesson about being present in the moment. So let's start with scene 1. There are two young boys who work together building Lego structures. The first boy builds his part of the structure here on the table. The second boy sneakily uses his pieces to build something on the floor behind him. They finish their task, and the teacher asks each boy to show what he built. The first boy proudly shows off his creation, but when it's the second boy's turn, he can't show anything because he built it on the floor, and now someone has stepped on it. The teacher says, "Don't lie, the truth will catch up with you." Then she tells them to go clean up so they can start a new project. As they start to do this, the first boy explains to the second that he built his structure on the floor on purpose, so he could say he forgot to bring something to school and get out of showing and getting in trouble for it. He then says, "I just did what you did last time." The second boy responds, "We aren't supposed to do that. We're supposed to be honest." The first boy argues that the teacher didn't even know what he built on the floor, so it's not like he lied or anything. The second boy says, "Still, we should tell the truth." They finished cleaning up, and the teacher gives them each a piece of paper and tells them to write what they learned today and to bring it back tomorrow. The next day, the boys return with their papers. The first boy wrote, "It's good to be clever," and the second boy wrote, "It's better to be honest." The teacher asks the first boy why he thinks being clever is good, but he doesn't have an answer. She then turns to the second boy and asks him why he thinks being honest is better. He answers, "Because if you lie, it feels like you're always running, but if you're honest, you feel free." The teacher is impressed by his answer and praises him, saying that sometimes being honest might not seem like the best choice, but it's always the right one. First, to build something on purpose means to do something intentionally or deliberately. For example, she studied hard on purpose to get a good grade on the test. Next, to sneakily do something is to do it in a way that is intended to be hidden or done without being noticed. For example, he sneaked into the party by hiding in the trunk of a car. To catch up with someone or something literally means to catch up to someone or something physically. But it can also mean to catch up to or find out the truth about someone's behavior or actions. Next, to step on something is to put your foot down onto something, usually by accident. For example, I didn't mean to step on your toes. To step on someone's dream or plan is to ruin someone's dream or plan, which is what happened to the second boy's structure. To lie means to purposely say something that is not true. And to get away with something means to successfully avoid being punished or caught for doing something wrong. To get away with something is a phrasal verb meaning to succeed in avoiding punishment or detection. And now for the moral of the story. Sometimes it can be tempting to take shortcuts or to do things that are easier in the moment, even if they are not the most honest or ethical choice. But, as the second boy said, being honest is always the best policy. It can be difficult to be honest, especially when you think you might get into trouble or face other negative consequences. However, in the long run, by telling the truth, you don't have to worry about getting caught or facing the consequences of being dishonest. You also don't have to carry the burden of keeping a lie hidden. Being honest can also help you build trust and respect with others. When you are truthful and transparent in your communication, people are more likely to believe you and value your opinions and perspectives. This can lead to stronger relationships and more fulfilling interactions with those around you. Overall, being honest is an important value that can help you live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Although it may sometimes be challenging, the benefits of honesty make it worth striving for. Now, let's move on to scene 2. A successful businessman enters a restaurant and is immediately seated. He takes out his phone and starts talking loudly to someone on the other end. But he says no and instructs her to tell his wife he'll be home as soon as possible. He then gets a call from his daughter, asking him to pick her up from soccer practice. He tells her to take a cab and have her mother pick her up instead. Frustrated, she hangs up on him. He then receives a text message from his wife, expressing her disappointment in him again, and asking him to hurry up. Just then, the lady he was originally talking to approaches him and introduces herself. He apologizes for not recognizing her earlier, but she assures him it's okay and says she understands that he's busy. She pulls up a chair and sits down, telling him she saw him talking on the phone and could unhelp but listen in on the conversation. She explains that she's writing a book about men who have achieved success in business but failed in their personal lives and asks if she can interview him. He initially tries to brush her off, but she persists and asks if there's anyone else he would like to suggest she interview. He tells her that he's too busy for such nonsense and she should ask his wife instead. She says that would not be fair to his wife, as he's the one who chose his career over his family. He gets visibly uncomfortable and tells her to leave him alone and let him enjoy his meal. She calmly tells him that she understands and that he doesn't have to talk to her, but she still wants to interview him. She says she won't push him, but asks if he can at least let her buy his meal. He agrees, and she orders food for them both, sitting quietly while he eats. Afterward, she pays the bill and asks if he's ready to talk now. He tells her that his life isn't interesting and he's just lucky in business. She disagrees, saying that luck has nothing to do with his impressive career. He insists, but she stops him, telling him that she knows he wants to change things in his life and offers him the opportunity to share his story with her. He admits that he's unhappy with his life, but says he doesn't want to burden her with his problems. She replies, "Your problem is my business," and tells him he has a gift for making money and needs to use it to improve his life. Now, let's talk about some of the English used in this scene. First, to be seated means to be placed or situated in a particular position, usually in relation to other objects or people. For example, the students were seated in rows of desks facing the teacher. To get away with something means to do something wrong without being punished or caught. Next, to complain about something is to express dissatisfaction or annoyance about a situation or event. For example, she complained about the noise next door. To work on something means to spend time and effort trying to achieve a particular result. For example, he's been working on that painting for weeks. The phrase "to get along with someone" means to have a friendly and cooperative relationship with someone. For example, do you get along with your brother? To hang up on someone is to end a phone call by placing the receiver back on the hook. For example, she hung up on me after I told her the bad news. Next, to get into trouble is to experience negative consequences or punishment for doing something wrong. For example, he got into trouble for cheating on the test. To brush someone off means to treat someone as if they are not important or worthy of your attention. For example, he brushed off my concerns as unimportant. To persist means to continue doing something despite obstacles or opposition. For example, she persisted in her efforts to help others even when faced with criticism. To go out of one's way means to make a special effort to do something. For example, I went out of my way to buy your favorite cake for your birthday. And finally, to figure something out means to solve a problem or understand something that was previously unclear. For example, he spent hours trying to figure out how to fix the broken appliance. So, what did you think of this movie and its moral? Share your thoughts below. And remember, you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. Thanks for watching.